The three letters of SAS, or SAS, stand for Scandinavian Airlines System, as can be seen by the three partial flags/flag representations at the rear of the standard livery. The SkyTeam member is the flag carrier of three Scandinavian nations: Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Today we'll mostly look at the mainline fleet of SAS, which has been drastically reduced in recent years. We'll also examine other major changes with the airline. So, let's get started. Getting right to the current fleet, as of late October 2025, the mainline portion of SAS features 4 A319-100s, 5 A320-200s, 46 A320neos, 3 A321neos, 8 A330-300s, and finally 4 A350-900s. Interestingly, there's a single 737-700 Medivac jet also operating under the same Air Operator Certificate, perhaps one of the quirkiest aspects of the carrier. In case you didn't know, SAS has a long-standing agreement with the Norwegian Armed Forces to provide a hospital plane in crisis situations and for medical transport missions. The aircraft is a Boeing 737-700 registered Lima November Romeo Papa Juliet. The former passenger plane was converted into a flying hospital in 2009 with medical equipment and hospital beds. To be more specific, the jet as of February 2024 is configured with 18 hospital beds and 39 regular seats with the current configuration. However, the plane can have 6 different configurations where the number of stretchers and seats can be adjusted. As explained on the carrier's official website, the SAS flight crew on these operations are dedicated and trained for these challenging tasks, where some of the cabin attendants have nursing backgrounds. Medical personnel from the Norwegian Armed Forces are responsible for the treatment and care on board the aircraft. Now, in addition to the aircraft flying under the airline legally registered as Scandinavian Airlines System Aktiebolag, there are more aircraft flying in SAS livery, but technically with other legal entities that are under the SAS Group umbrella. Indeed, there are 32 A320neos operating under SAS Connect, which is legally Scandinavian Airlines Ireland Limited. There are also 15 Embraer E195s technically flying for SAS Link, as well as 7 ATR 72-600s flying for SAS, but technically operated by Braathens Regional Airways. And finally, there are 13 CRJ-900s operated by CityJet. In terms of somewhat recent changes, we can see that one A330-300 exited the mainline fleet in 2022, while all 8 of the carrier's A340-300s were retired, mostly during the pandemic. However, the A340 retirements were not at all related to the pandemic and had been part of the airline's plan long before. Indeed, Simple Flying reported in October 2019 that SAS would be retiring its A340 fleet in favour of A350 aircraft. Responding to a social media comment, an airline representative stated, "We plan to retire the A340s in the south of France, where they will be dismantled and the useful parts sold." Now, when it comes to A350 quote-unquote retirements, it may be a surprise to some that the carrier let go of 2 A350-900s in 2023. One of these has ended up at Malaysia Airlines, while the other is now at Taiwanese carrier China Airlines. We'll explain exactly why this took place later on in this video. And finally, dozens of 737s retired before, during, and after the pandemic. These were mostly -700s and -800s. Relatively recent deliveries include several brand new A320neos which arrived over the course of 2024. So why did the airline get rid of relatively new A350 aircraft in 2023? Well, it was part of a larger cost-cutting plan. In February 2022, SAS announced its comprehensive business transformation plan titled SAS Forward. The goal of SAS Forward? Transforming the carrier's business, including its network, fleet, labour agreements, and other cost structures. Saving money was the main goal of the plan, with the 2022 savings estimate being 7.5 billion Swedish krona, equivalent today to nearly $796 million. As it relates to the airline's fleet, SAS Forward included a plan to phase out older, larger and less fuel-efficient aircraft, replacing wide bodies with narrow bodies on some long-haul routes, and by focusing on only 3 types of aircraft to simplify operations. The airline added that there would be contract improvements and a goal to concentrate maintenance to reduce maintenance costs. And so SAS Forward and its detailed cost-cutting measures explain exactly why the airline fully let go of its Boeing 737 fleet while downsizing other sub-fleets. The plan seems to have worked, as SAS announced in August 2024 that it had successfully completed its restructuring proceedings and emerged from Chapter 11 in the US and from Swedish company reorganization. Also helping this greatly was an investment of $1.2 billion. The company commented on the news saying, "This marks the start of a new era for SAS. The company emerges as a competitive and financially robust airline with a strengthened capital structure, a highly dedicated and experienced management team, a commitment to drive transformational change and sustainability in aviation, and an attractive new customer offering together with the global airline alliance SkyTeam." This leads us to the recent transition from the Star Alliance to SkyTeam, prompted by a change in ownership. It was in July 2024 that Air France-KLM announced that it would initiate proceedings to take a majority stake in SAS after first taking a 19.9% stake in the airline. While Air France-KLM only officially announced the acquisition of that first 19.9% share of SAS in July of 2024, it was already quite certain the deal would go through. Thus, it was actually months later that the airline announced it would be leaving Star Alliance, despite being a founding member of the organization. The transition from one alliance to another was swift and took place overnight. SAS officially left Star Alliance on August 31, 2024, and became a SkyTeam member on September 1, 2024. SAS's move between these two alliances will be somewhat offset by the fact that ITA Airways is moving in the other direction, leaving SkyTeam to join Star Alliance in 2026. The Italian carrier's move is due to Lufthansa Group taking a partial stake in the airline. In July 2025, Air France-KLM reconfirmed its intention to increase its stake in SAS's share capital from 19.9% currently to 60.5% via a full acquisition of the stakes held by Castle Lake and Lind Invest. With Air France-KLM holding 60.5%, the Danish state would retain its 26.4% stake in SAS and its seats on the board of directors. This deal is currently ongoing and subject to obtaining of all the necessary regulatory clearances. Ultimately, it's hoped that the transaction will be complete by the second half of 2026. But there's your quick rundown of the SAS fleet and its major changes over the past few years. CH Aviation data shows that the airline is expecting 2 new A350-900s at some point in the future. We also know that the airline group entered into an agreement to acquire 45 Embraer E195-E2 aircraft to fly at its SAS Link regional subsidiary. And so it looks like things are very much back on track and the airline is growing once again. But what do you think of SAS's wild journey through the pandemic? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.